Hello. I hope the sound is okay. I set it so I can hear the mic coming through the headset. So that may cause issues. I won't know till after, unless somebody happens to be listening and were to be so kind as to let me know. So, self-thought will not be allowed. So listen up and shut up. Pretty harsh, right? My previous stream was removed, courtesy of the fine folks and artificial entities over at YouTube land. I don't know what to say. Well, I do know what to say, and I should just get it out of the way, because I've never had this happen. It's just a warning. If I were to continue doing what I was thinking verbally, then I'm unable to post a stream or any video for a week, up until you get to that third time where they remove you. Anyway, I'm not at the removal point. I only have a warning, which changes things up for me in some regards. I have anticipated this event. So you can appeal. I didn't go in depth into studying what's this mark against me implies. But on the surface, you can appeal, which involves clicking the appeal button, where you are granted 800 characters to convey a message in your appeal. Knowing that I would not win an appeal, nonetheless, I felt compelled to make use of my opportunity to share my thoughts once again. As far as this video was concerned, I suppose. So I did reply. This is the reply. Above there you can see in the email that I received an email that I violated their community guidelines, which had to do with basically, I'm not a doctor, I'm not WHO, the World Health Organization, yada yada yada. So anyway, my reply was, the first little pig was very lazy. He didn't want to work at all, and he built his house out of straw. The second little pig worked a little bit harder, but he was somewhat lazy too, and he built his house out of sticks. Then they sang and danced and played together the rest of the day. I thrive on logic, In fact, it has served me an entire lifetime right up to now, where logic has died and truth denied. Which pig? The first, the second, or the third? All I can say is all of you at YouTube land have your way of coping with reality, and I have mine. I don't tell another what to do or think, only what I think. That's the real crime facing humanity now. And a cordial parting of the ways. So, that's what I had to say to YouTube. It is what it is. I've thought about posting the video in another video where I can hear the video, but you can't hear the video. You can only see it, but I'm replaying it, giving a new revised take on the things that I expressed, that I feel. For me, I mean, clearly, you are going to think what you think. And the only person that's going to change that is you. It all comes down to you, not another. It comes down to you. Anyway, so I have to, like, in my mind, double think before I say things, because obviously I don't want to make a habit of offending YouTube. Personally, I don't think YouTube will be around much longer. Again, that's what I think. I don't think there's going to be a need for what YouTube offers. Maybe I'm just full of it. YouTube would agree. They'd say that. You're just full of it. He's just full of it. That's why we reserve the right to delete a video or anything from this person in question. So I have done some notes for today. Go ahead and pull those up. There, I am still here. And it is March 1st, 2021. It is 9:41 p.m. here in California. So I'm in the Pacific Standard Time Zone. And I'm still just kind of in amazement over the state of affairs when it comes to the world. Anyway, I started off my notes with finish, and on the other page at the very end, I also at the same time wrote the word start. And I went from there. Next, I went the first. And then the last at the end. Anyway, just a little way explaining a little bit of my odd way of thinking, I suppose. So finish. Maybe I should have added ed, finished, because that's kind of where my mind was. Finished the world. And then the first. And I was thinking about the first because I was thinking about ET, I guess, intelligence. And because I don't think that ET is coming from somewhere else, as do a lot of people. I see this intelligence as always having been here. It's not coming from anywhere. It's here. It's already here. It's been here. And that's where I was thinking about the first, because they were, or it was here first, if you want to get technical. So I'm thinking about man, because man sees his-self as, the first, the most intelligent and separate and unique. And but then I'm on the first. What's the first? Who was the first? What is the first? And so I'm thinking back, going back, and I'm thinking, man, ape. Is it apes? Birds or fish? How far back can you place some kind of beginning? Cells. We all come from cells. And if that's the case, then is it not true? A claim to address all ownership thereafter the cell back to the, I wrote down soul, but I meant to write the cell back to the cell is. And I know I'm on this weird train of thought, but I've come to the conclusion that any final answers or solutions to make sense out of any of this, you gotta go down that path. Because this is a lot more than any man, woman, human mind is. Back to E.T. Should go ahead and put those up. That would become visible when I take the notes off. ET and intelligence. I rest easy with intelligence. If I want to simplify it, there's something that has been with me my entire life, and that would be God. The idea, the dream of God. God is intelligence. Now, in my mind, it's clear, because I don't see a reason for it not to be any other way than what I have come to see it as. This, see, it's hard to talk about this because you start talking about ETs or intelligence and even the physical aspect of it to some degree, the craft, the lights, all of it. And see, I get to this point and there's just too much. It's like, how do you find that entry point where you can just kind of pierce the veil, and then piercing that veil, that instant of the penetration of the force doesn't carry you away. In my mind, it makes sense that, because again, I am saying that there is an intelligence. Okay? You can picture that intelligence being contained in whatever means your mind can accept and embrace. But there is an intelligence. Smart. It's beyond anything you've ever thought of yet. But it's there. And it's always been there as far as we're concerned. You, me, any of us, and all of us. Because it is here, and it was here long before any man, human mind of earth dreamed anything. Okay? It's old beyond reason, because your mind can't conceive of a life eternal. I mean, we're not even hiccups, not even bleeps, beeps. That's, your life is like a one breath. My mind is. I get lost in this, and it's real easy to not want to come back here, this world, this moment. Anyway, it makes sense that this intelligence that's always been here, it's always been here, and it's communicating, because that's what intelligence reaches out for. Communication. To not be alone. To not be the only one. How do you know? It starts with communication. How do you know? Communication. Not just words. Communication takes place on many, many levels. Some obvious. Like you can hear me. And then others that are not so obvious, or a little bit more subtle, and they're just a part of you, a trait, how you express yourself. I don't want to get carried away in that. I'm trying to express the realization that there is an intelligence. It's here. It's always been here. It isn't going anywhere, because there's nowhere else to go. Here is everywhere. Now, if you want to get all technical, and I would think that humans would love to take this stance, because it's how they practice, for the most part, their life, and it's almost sacred. Rights are sacred. So if you want to talk about this from a rights perspective, then this intelligence that is here was here first. It was here first, long before any of us. So this isn't gonna be a repeat of the Mayflower coming over the Atlantic and colonizing a new world. Those that were already there, they lost. Okay, that ain't happening this time around. Man wants to have that look, present his self in that stance. You know, we're here now, and that's all that matters. You are not allowed to be here. You are not from here. Get out. That's not... First of all, this intelligence doesn't look at us in that way. They don't take that into consideration, that that's how humanity perceives this unfolding situation. There's a lot going on right now. A lot more than the V word. I'm going to use from now on, if I ever feel the need to approach that topic, I'm going to refer to it as the V word. Y'all know what the V word is. Okay? Only the WHO and accredited doctors, I guess, that have your, in quotes, best interest at heart, I suppose. The V word. V is the safe word. Used to be a hand sign of peace, right? Pretty sure. Yeah. Used to be. Hoo-wee. This world is, it's done. It is. I mean, we're never going back to the way it was before. We're not where it's going. I'm not so sure about what the answer is. I mean, I'm being told to shut up and just listen to what is being told to me. Don't question, or you'll be banned. Your thoughts, you can't think anymore, is basically what it comes down to. We're at that moment. 1984, the thought police. It's real. It's real. It's happening. The truth, you can't tell the truth. Whose truth? I'm going to try not to spend too much time getting into the politics of all this, although I could easily. I mean, I will. It's not like I'm never going to. Just not so sure if this is the stream I want to spend that time. I'm still blown away that the V word got me in trouble. And we'll go ahead and take these notes off. I think I left those up there. And I have them written down, of course. So I have to change things up, because self-thought will not be allowed. It's coming for you. That's why I say I don't think YouTube is going to be around. I think of things are going to happen very, very rapidly. And they're going to be big things, and it's going to be a little bit harder each time these things happen to gain your composure back. That's how huge. Now, do I have knowledge of any of this? No. This is just a feeling. Using my mind, listening to what others are saying, and observing what I'm seeing, and trying to put it all together. And I've been able to form a very good template that is telling me that about 93% of the population right now doesn't know. To just maybe I shouldn't say doesn't know, because a lot of those 93, a lot are aware of what's going on, but they haven't been able to put the pieces in to the right place, the right order, and get enough of the whole picture to realize that right now you need to be awake, and you need to be standing up, and you need to be speaking up, because you're not going to have, at least I'm not going to have, I feel, and I don't feel like I'm being singled out. This is something that's taking place on a mass level. I'm not going to be allowed to share my thoughts. That's unreal. I just watched from 1978, a documentary. I don't know what you'd call it, like a science report from the UK, about an hour long, and it was titled Alternative 3. Now, I read the pocket book Alternative 3 back in the early 80s, 1980, 81. And the only reason I had that book was because my grandmother had come into the possession of a number of boxes, cardboard boxes, that were full of books, paperback books. And they were new. And she said that, you know, I could go through them, and any of the books I wanted I could take. But I needed to do it before because she wasn't going to be holding on to all these books. They were just passing through. Anyway, I grabbed a bunch of books that at that time seemed interesting to me, and I was about 10 years old, 10, 11, somewhere in there, around there, when I looked through the boxes and picked out all these books. And Alternative 3 was one of them. Definitely not a book that the average 10-year-old would have picked out of the box. But I did. There was a number of UFO books too, and I picked those out. Anyways, I read that book. I held on to it for a few years before I actually read it, and that was in the early 80s. So I've been carrying this certain mindset, possibility, with me since the early 80s when I read that book, Alternative 3, which has to do with Mars and relocating to Mars. And they called that Alternative 3. And they base this on, like a group of the experts get together and have a conversation, and think tank type deal. And what would you do if? And, like if there was a solar flare, maybe an asteroid hitting the planet, something that would cause extinction level catastrophe. And they had different alternatives. Alternative 1 was to, I can't remember the order of these, I think it was to launch, maybe it was to launch a nuke out into space to act as some kind of a barrier shield for like a solar flare. Anyway, I don't want to go through all the alternatives, other than the third alternative was to relocate to Mars. And the book approached it from a possibility that events in the world that have been taking place could be put together to tell a tale, an incredible tale, and unbelievable tale that involved, like, the wealthy, the people that with all the money, because they're the ones that, if there were some kind of catastrophe to the earth, they would go. That would be high on their list, and in their minds, with all the wealth, they would see it like as, we don't even need to have a discussion about this. I've got the power because I got the money, the wealth. Anyway, that's Alternative 3. I don't want to go into it. It's just, I watched that and it got me thinking about that book and what's going on right now in the world, and how a big part of this Alternative 3 scenario is that the people, the world, aren't going to make it. Okay? Who wants to hear that? I can't imagine. Only a very few, select few, I think, carry that mindset, twisted as it is. No, these people, there's too many people. They're all polluting, raping the planet in some way, the pillaging of the natural resources, and an unwillingness to do the right thing, replenish, give back what you take. That's not like the consensus of thought as a human species. It's all about taking it all if you can. And that's what's going on right now. The wealthy, the wealth of the world, it's being even more tightened down into fewer and fewer hands, dictating your every thought. It's coming down to that, your every thought. Want to know how I know? Because if you don't comply, they remove you. I think it's all funny because I know how how all this works and plays out. It doesn't lead anywhere good. I'm loving it and I'm laughing at I think I look at them as chumps. They're chumps. They just, sheep is kind, too kind. They're chumps because they think they're getting something out of following the lead that they've been given. And they're not. They're not. I mean, I don't think that there's a base on Mars, but if there were, I understand that the likelihood of very few being allowed, the numbers that would make that move are very, very few. And I know that given the conditions of this world, the mindset that it has, the way it conducts business, the way it interacts and deals with others, this is just all too crazy. In my mind, I'm starting to get too carried away with what's going on. I was thinking about the Mandela Effect earlier. I can't remember why now. There's something about, again, how that whole experience has been helping me in many ways deal with what's going on, because just reality is just not real. There's no more logic. It's like this can't be happening. Just like with Mandela effects. You tell yourself this can't be happening. I know what reality is. Reality doesn't change. And yet there it is, changing. And it's the same with reality and everything that's going on right now. The world. You need to wake up. You need to wake up right now. The finale is here. We began the finale. Like when you go to the movie. The end of the movie, we just got into the end part, the final scene, just starting. If that gives you any idea of what's coming. Usually the end builds and builds and builds once it starts. This system clearly doesn't want you here. That's what I think. And I base that on what I'm seeing going on. I'm being told that I have no say when it comes to my body. You will comply, or you will be banned. You'll starve, because you won't be allowed to participate in activities that have been occurring for thousands and thousands of years. All of a sudden, one day deemed bad for your health. Bullshit. What a bunch of bullshit. I need to wind this down. I got pretty wound up earlier when I got that. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Are you for real, YouTube? YouTube. It's all connected. The system that's watching you, monitoring you, plotting against you. That's what I think. I don't see any of these things bettering humanity. And right now, more than ever, we're seeing it right in our face. Banned. You're bad. Get out of here. You're bad. YouTube will be gone. So will Facebook. Twitter. Twitter is for twits. And I'll never stop saying that because it's the truth. If you were to meet an alien and ask them that question, I propose a scenario and see how they answer. And to make it easy, it's an A or B. Do you twit with Twitter or tweet with Twitter? Makes perfect sense to twit, not tweet. Twit. The only reason you don't say twit is just like with so many other words like he or she, mom or dad. You piss somebody off. Poor little babies. Sorry. I mean, I don't know what else to say, how to look at it any other way. You gotta be kidding me. That's the world you and I have created. Because we're all participating in it, allowing for it to be. That's why I say 93% of the public, they're sheep with no clue. And of those 7% that are awake, and I'm not talking about people with all the money, with that mindset. I'm just the public. Of those 7%, I think a good majority of them are so you got to be careful with everything you say nowadays, because you say the wrong thing or you don't clarify, then you can be accused of incitement, I suppose. Which, I would love to hear that come back on me and get into court. Because the first person I'm calling in on my case is Mrs. Nope, sorry, excuse me. I'm trying to keep the clarity on all of the things I say. Thing Pelosi. And why? Because she's on camera inciting violence, pillaging, burning down cities. She is. There's no way you can, unless you're a corrupt, wicked, evil piece of shit lawyer, attorney with no morals, could you ever make the argument that she is doing no less than inciting a public official of the people? I mean, come on, you gotta know. You gotta know. You gotta see that that's not good. Yeah, but very few don't see that. They're too busy thinking about hoping, waiting on a stimulus check, or all these things are distractions. That's what I think. They're all to take my thoughts away from what's really going on. So you got all these people out there that aren't working because of the V, and so they're going to get unemployment, and then you got the stimulus checks, more stimulus checks, and I hear tons of people talking about raising Social Security $200 a month, and I'm just, in my mind, I'm laughing, because I know the reality of what's going on here. It's all a distraction. Like even the UFO thing. The 60 or 6 months to come out with UFO truth, or whatever you're going to call this. It's all distractions to keep our attention from what's really going on. I think it's a culling. I know people don't want to hear that, and even when it's happening right in front of you, people are still not going to want to hear it, even though you couldn't ever deny it because it's right there in front of you. So we're already in that stage, because I'm seeing a hell of a lot of stuff going on that's leaving me saying, what the? Okay. Well, hopefully this stream, I didn't violate any policies. They don't tell you what you said, or which makes no sense to me, because clearly you have to have known what was said in order to mark it as violating. But, it's like whatever. That's why I have no hope for YouTube being around. I'm just using them like they've been using you. When it's gone, I could give a flying you know what. Because the best way, it's worked, it works. The best way is getting out there with your brothers and sisters and having a conversation in real time, gathering. That's what's coming. They're not going to be able to stop people. People are already getting fed up. Enough is enough. Lockdown. You, if you want to, go for it. That's your prerogative. Be well and smile. See, I would say it while I'm on camera, but last time, which you can't see because that video was deleted by YouTube, and this time I decided, because of the mask. Anyway.